We'll hear from the trustee candidates. I should note that Paul LeBlanc, current trustee, could not join us today. We have four, and let's go in alphabetical order. And in that regard, we'll be starting with Catherine Jacobs.
Thank you. I'm Catherine Jacobs, and I just want to tell you how important Ada is to me. My husband and I moved here with our children about 9 years ago, and we came from the east side of the state, and our families are both there. And when we moved here, I said to him, 2 years, and then we're going back. And about 3 years into staying here, he was offered a position back in Detroit, and I said, no way, I'm not going. I love it here. Our kids love it here. We have 4 children, all of whom attend Forest Hills public schools. And in fact, my husband had to take a job back in Detroit about 1.5 years ago, and he has been commuting ever since. And so this is how much our family loves Ada. We're willing to make that sacrifice. As I said, I do have 4 children. I'm a member of St. Robert's Church. I'm on the Planning Commission. I'm also a Rotarian, volunteer in a lot of community activities, and my law firm, Jacquiline Jacobs, is in Ada. Thanks.
Next, Mr. Cruz.
Thank you,
Trustee
Peter.
Robert.
Okay, first of all, corrections, pros. We'll get that. I have been blessed to be a trustee for the last 7.5, going on 8 years, and I believe I've offered quite a bit to the community. Number one, I'm a businessman, started my own business in 1984. We're now up to over 90 employees, so I know what it is to have a lot of money, and I know what it is to have no money. I also know what it is to have common sense. I have been blessed, I believe, with understanding what it is to be an ordinary citizen in a tight economy. I believe I've proven the fact that I can take a stance. I don't waver. I don't change for the way the wind blows. And I believe that I have a lot to offer for the business, the residents, and the community. And I look forward to serving for an additional. Thank you.
And Jackie Smith.
You got the name pronounced right.
How about
I'd like to thank you
Trustee Jackie Smith.
for this forum. I lived in Ada for 23 years. I'm just completing my first term on the board. Was active in committees and before that as well. So I've been active for a long time. I have enjoyed and considered it an honor to represent the citizens of Ada on the board. I think we have accomplished a lot in the last 4 years. Done a lot of big projects. And the Supervisor Mayor referred to the bridge as a major one. The initial proposal for that was to close that bridge during construction, and through a lot of cooperation and things this board accomplished keeping that open. And there are many more things that we have, a lot of things facing us in the future. I think I come prepared for every meeting. I research and prepare. I think I bring a common sense and reasonableness also to the board.
And candidate Bill Wood.
Thank you. I've been out here 48 years. I served a term as a trustee from 2000 to 2004. Then I challenged George twice. Unfortunately, I finished second this time. So I gave that idea up, and I'll settle for trustee again if I can get elected to that. Because it's a very interesting job. I'm retired, given my full attention as I did before. And spend as much time as I need to research whatever's going on. I look for things that can be improved. The change in the highway out here, maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but I've got a letter from MDOT that says it reduced the accidents at an intersection by 78%. Things like that are what I like to make happen.
All right, for the trustees, and in the alphabetical order that we resume, why don't we just continue that? If you were elected or re-elected, what would be a priority of yours to improve the business climate in Ada?
One of the things I think we need to do is to have DBA become a stronger body. They, in the past, haven't had necessarily the funds to commit to a strong downtown development. I think we have so many resources in this community. We have huge corporations owners that we can come up with a plan that could really revitalize the downtown and make it what we want it to be and continue to make it strong.
Before I go any further, some folks have reported not being able to hear all the responses as well, so just try to pretend that you're a broadcaster and speak up. Please. No problem.
Gosh, for me, Ada, business is important. Over the last 7-8 years, getting a DDA formed, being in favor of that, working with individuals to make the reality is a good first step. We do need to improve our identity. How do we improve our identity? By letting people know that we exist. How do you do that? We've been doing it, I think, pretty well with such tasks as the farmers market, the 4th of July, holding it here in the village as we are. I think having the different bicycle events and the other events in Ada, Arts in Ada, is all things of ways to identify what business is even there. I do agree we do need to continue to work to improve the business climate, but the best thing we can do is be open to suggestions and listen as a board to make sure that we're there and responsive.
Thank you. We're very fortunate in Ada to have a mixture of very large businesses and small businesses as well. We have a DDA, we have an active DDA, even though it's young. We have an active business association, and I think continued collaboration between all is the best way.
I think the least regulation you put down is the easiest way to get business. I believe with government's least, government's best. When I got on the board, I learned that we get our ordinances manufactured in Tallahassee, Florida. I didn't think that was necessary. I went to the Municipal Code Corporation one day, and I was very warmly received, but these people sit down there and they decide to make up rules, and they publish them, and then townships buy them wholesale. I don't think we should do it that way. I think we shouldn't have a regulation that is maintained what our needs are, and we shouldn't have any extras. We've got a code book very thick, and I think that needed weeding out one of these days. There's so many things in there that some of the enforcers don't know what they're doing themselves.
For the supervisor candidates from the crowd, the question is, how much should Ada grow in its population? And should we market Ada Township as the place to live in the metro area?
That is precarious because certainly growth is important to maintain tax base and to maintain a vibrant community. So certainly we want people to continue to want to live in Ada. We do want this to become a metropolis where every part of our township is developed. I don't think so. I think in the last survey, people overwhelmingly like the green space that we have and are done with one of the bigger developments. So I think that while we want to maintain a steady growth, we want to also maintain the character that we have now based on what the community has said.
Well, for myself, I've often heard who will be the last one to turn out the lights when Michigan leaves. We are a community that needs to grow and develop. Do we need to grow in double-digit increases? Probably not. But we don't want big boxes here either. But we do need to grow. We need to have businesses that are vibrant and growing. We need to have sustainable growth. We do need to advertise Ada as a place to live. There's several reasons. Number one, we've got still a declining tax base that we got to maintain because, I don't know, my record kind of goes forth that I'm not one for wanting to raise taxes. We have enough burdens in our lives. I think the most important thing that we can do is continue to grow as a community, keeping our tax base strong, but keeping our businesses strong as well.
It is a great place to live. There is room for growth. We need to manage that growth in a smart way. We have purchased open space. There is a lot of parks and open space in Ada. but we need to manage the growth in a good way.
For our treasurer candidates from our crowd. I'm sorry. Thank you. Mr. Wood.
Thank you. Well, I was a builder for 17 years. I helped build a lot of houses out here. And so from that standpoint, my interest would be let's have more houses, more construction. We've got a lot of land out here, and we've got a variety. Towns is zoned from one side to the other. There's small parcels, big parcels, very big parcels. You get what you want out here. You've got to got people that want to come here. They have to come with money from someplace else to build. And right now, the building business is so flat. I don't see much growth right now.
For the township trustee candidates, question from the Business Association leadership. Several West Michigan townships have added a local bidder preference clause in their purchasing policies to promote using local businesses. What are your thoughts about using a local bidder preference here in Ada Township? Ms. Jacobs?
I do like the idea of the local bidder process. I am a local business owner here, and I truly support as much as I can every business. I always like to go local before I go out of the community. So I think that we need to have open bidding, obviously, but we also need to look at our local community and support that to make it grow. We all talk about wanting growth in this community, wanting more businesses, wanting our businesses to be vibrant. One way to help that is to have a local preference.
Interesting question. In a bid process, if you are a local company, typically you would have local advantages, less travel, less expenses, the ability to perform the work at a lower cost, which would inherently give you an advantage to submit and win a proposal. When we put together a bid package, which I was on a committee that helped put together our purchasing policy, it was important to have a policy that was equal and unified across the board. The biggest advantage that we do have is if it's an Ada resident, it should be a cheaper bid. I'm more in favor of doing what's best for the entire community. Hopefully, Ada business people will hear that their bid is best because it would be easier and more profitable to win that bid.
There are many factors that go into a bidding process, and local business is one of those. Cost is one. Experience is another. There are many, and I think we need to look at all of those factors. I would like to give preference to local bidders, and I think that many times we do. We've had a couple instances recently where not a lot of cost difference, but where we have gone with a local bidder because of
What?
I'm for a level playing field that work out, write the specifications for the work, don't let the bidder write the specs. That's happened here, and that's not good. And if the low bidder is ours, fine, but if the low bidder is not ours, I think that the idea of bidding should be that all bidders are welcome and they're playing on the level field, not somebody's handicap.
For the trustee candidates, do you see any way that service sharing with other communities or the county, be it police, fire, or for that matter, any other service could be enhanced more than it already is? Ms. Jacobs?
There's always that opportunity. Right now, we do share services. For example, our building inspectors are through Cascade Township, and certainly that helps out bottom line budget. And I think that, as communities grow and change, especially in the economic climate that Michigan has currently, there's always ways to look for budgeting. I don't think that police and fire sharing necessarily any more than we do right now in the county. I think that's not necessarily the place where we need to go at this time. We always have to look at the budget every year.
Interesting question. We have looked over the last, I believe we met 3 or 4 different times with both Cascade and Grand Rapids Township, possibly condensing fire department, sharing, that type of thing. And what it proved out at the end of the day, it may be a better deal, but it might not improve. It might be a better deal for the other communities, but for Ada, it's going to really cost us. It would cost us response time. It would cost us in true dollars and cents. And of course, we have to be wise in everything we do. If there's an opportunity to share information, great. But in this particular case, it was absolutely what it cost us 4 to 5 times as much to have a lesser service. We just need to be wise when we deal with other communities because we're unique in our own situations and our own needs.
I think it's a great idea to cost share with other municipalities. I think we've done some of that. We've researched other things. Trustee Rose mentioned the fire department, and we did check into that. It did not turn out to be the best deal. I think we need to have an open mind and pursue those opportunities.
And Mr. Wood?
The bordering townships are not alike with Ada in any direction. Cannon is more rural, Virginia is much more rural, Cascade is much more urban. The sizes don't match. And we have tried some of this already with the East Precinct Sheriff's Department. And the fire departments do work across the lines with each other very well right now. I think we are state of the art with that work.
I just want to clarify, you said supervisor.
I'm sorry, I meant trustees.
Okay.
I meant trustees.
I saw everyone looking at me like,
Sorry.
change roles.
Did you have the question too?
What we've heard just now from the candidates for treasurer as well as others, there seems to be concerns with audits and monies and financial stability, for lack of a better word. Are you at all concerned with that? Do you think that's as much of an issue as some of the other candidates have intended that it is?
I don't think financial stability is a concern at this point. I think that Ada is a financially stable community. Do I think that there are processes that need to be visited and to be made sure that they're being followed so that we don't have these issues? Absolutely. We need to figure out what happened, we need to correct it, and we need to go forward.
Wow. I was kind of hoping this would come to me because I have been on the board for 8 years. And in all 8 years, I have never seen something so blown out of proportion for showboating, for personal gain, hiring television studios to come in and report things. I'm sorry, yeah, my voice is shaking here because it was wrong. There's an apology that's owed. There were simple journal entry mistakes. It happens in 8 out of 10 townships. It happens across America. It happens in every business. I have a CPA, and we still get 50 to 60 journal entry mistakes annually. Come on. There's no money taken. We're working together as a community. We're financially strong. We watch your money. We will continue to watch your money. But we are not here to showboat or to cause infighting amongst each other. What happened was wrong. It was ethically, morally wrong, and it was totally for get myself on TV and make Ada look bad.
I do have some concern. I would like to see us have a perfect audit. I don't remember that ever happening. There have always been adjustments. There have always been something that the auditors find. That's their job, I guess. But I agree with Trustee Rose. It has been blown out of proportion. My biggest issue at this point is it's premature. The audit has not been finished. We do not have a report. It's premature.
Mr. Wood?
I was on the board from 2000 to 2004. recommended that they simply keep a general ledger. I studied accounting at Davenport Institute, and it was a whole ground a long time ago, but I think 2 and 2 is still 4 the same way. And the CPA at that time was a BDO, and their man said, Bill is right. Keep a general ledger, and you can go back and figure out whatever is wrong with it. But apparently that's not been done yet. That was about 8 years ago, so. It's a shame to see this blown out of proportion. It's bad PR.
Question from our audience to the trustee candidates. Do you think the open space policy should be changed? Jake?
I don't think the open space policy should be changed necessarily. We did a survey and most people agree with the open space as it is. I think we need to continue to maintain and develop our open space. We have some open space that is designated, I believe, for things that could happen for development, and if that does happen, that's okay. But I don't think that we should be significantly changing the policy at this time.
I agree. Our open space is not broken. We have a very good group of people that watch for open space. I think they communicate well together. They work with the planning commission well. Not every open space opportunity that comes before the board is selected. We also look for ways that we can select another piece of the property that would be wonderful for the community. Part of Ada's identity is the fact that we have wonderful, rolling, natural plains, natural place to live. It's a great place to live. And the development of our parks in conjunction with our open space has been phenomenal. So I think it's a great place to live, and I believe 100% that we need to keep our open space continuing to grow.
I'm not sure of the intent of the question. I think when our open space was started, we had a very great need for it. Development was booming, we were growing, property was getting eaten up, and I think we did a great thing by having a millage, and we bought a lot of open space already. I think that initial really big push to buy a lot of open space, maybe we've gone beyond that and we can slow down a little, but I think we still need to pursue it. I think it's been doing great. It's worked.
Mr. Wood?
I wouldn't change something right now unless somebody demonstrates a problem with what's in place. Change is always going to be plus on one side for somebody and minus on the other